Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. My name is Melissa, and I'm here to lead you through mindful stretch. We are going to practice together for 15 minutes as we go through our class today. Just a reminder to listen to your body. If any of the stretches that we work with don't work for your body, please skip them. You can come on out and modify. Things that you're going to need for your practice today. It'll be nice to have a mat to practice on. I took out the blanket and the exercise block. So if you'd like to have those close by, you could definitely have them close by. But again, they're not a necessity for the practice. So as we go through class today, I wanted to do a tree inspired practice. I found this really nice mindfulness poem about trees. And when we do stretch practice, tree pose shows up quite a bit. And the thing that I love about it is it's a really great hip stretch. It's good for the inner legs. And it's a really nice way to open up our low back. So if you feel that you've been sitting a lot through the day today, this could be really beneficial just for bringing a bit more balance into the body. It also has the opportunity to open the shoulders as well. And also it's great because there's so many ways to do it. Typically, we think about tree as standing, but there's variations standing, seated, and on the back. So we're going to give a whole bunch of those a try today. I would love to come down onto our backs, and we're actually going to start off in a tree position. So you will start by laying down, and we'll just do a little gentle warm up to start. So let's bring our feet to the edges of our mat. And gently windshield wipe your knees to the right and the left. So we want to feel that our feet are nice and wide, just so that as we drop those knees off, that there's a bit of space. The legs will be a little staggered. And this will be a great little stretch just to start warming up the body. This opportunity to open up the legs, hips, and low back. Now, as we sink into the first tree pose of practice, let's bring the sole of our right foot to the inside of our left leg. And we might feel that this right hip dips down a little bit. So sometimes if we press in through our outer edge of our right foot and our left heel, and we lift our hips up and we just try to get a little more even in the hips, that can help a bit. And if this stretch was a little bit too much on your knee, what you could do is you could prop this right knee up. So you could use the exercise block or a rolled up blanket, and that would just help to give a little bit more of a passive stretch. And as long as this would work for your shoulders, let's try for bringing the hands up and overhead. And we're only going to take this variation if the arms are relaxing and the hands are relaxing down. Sometimes when I teach students in person, I'll see the arms up. That's just going to put a little bit too much pressure on the shoulders because we are going to be here for a little bit just to soften into the stretch. So if your hands and arms are lifted, let's just have you take your arms along your body and let your palms face up. And we're just going to take some breath here. So let's just try to inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. You can let your eyes close or soften your gaze. Think like a tree. Soak up the sun. Affirm life's magic. Be graceful in the wind. Stand tall after a storm. Feel refreshed after it rains. Grow strong without notice. Be prepared for each season. Provide shelter to strangers. Hang tough through a cold spell. Emerge renewed at the first signs of spring. Stay deeply rooted while reaching for the sky. Be still long enough to hear your own leaves rustling. So I always feel so inspired when I look to trees. And I feel that that poem just describes it so perfectly. Now from here, let's take a minute to reset. So we'll just gently draw that right leg in, and we'll take a reset in a happy baby stretch. So you'll just flex your feet. You're going to reach out through your heels. And we're just going to take a little rock to the right and to the left. So a little swish to one side and to the other. And take that nice full breath, finding length through your spine. And then we're going to soften. So let's take the sole of our left foot to the inside of our right leg. We're going to press into the outer edge of your left foot, maybe the heel of your right foot, just to kind of lift those hips up. Try to get even here. And if that worked for your shoulders, take the hands up and overhead. If that didn't work for you, let's bring arms alongside the body, palms face up, kind of give a little bit more of that passive rotation on the shoulders. Closing the eyes or softening the gaze here. And try to relax the eyebrows and relax your jaw. Try to relax the back of the head and the back of the neck. Relax through the shoulders, arms, hands. And then relaxing the upper, mid, and low back. Legs relax, feet relax. Now, coming out of this one, let's relax the arms. We're going to float that left knee in. And this time, let's take our knees to our chest. We'll hug them in nice and tight. We'll do a gentle rock to the right and a little rock off to the left. Core engages. We're going to rock and roll through the spine. So that just means rolling up the length of the spine. We're going to come on up to seated. And we'll extend the legs out in front. So we're going to work with a seated tree, which is a really nice hip opener. So really good beneficial hip stretch. So let's take our left leg up and over. So we want to create a figure 4 stretch here. And this might feel like a really good stretch for some people. So this might be where you're going to hang out. You could also do a dive down forward, and that's just going to give you a more stretch there. If you wanted even more than that, right knee will bend, and then you can just scooch yourself in. You're going to flex your left foot, and you'll encourage your left knee away from the face. And if you're feeling extra flexible, you can begin to stack the legs on top of one another, the lower legs. So the trick on this one, because sometimes people will come into it and say, oh, this is so easy, but you're actually cheating yourself out of the stretch if you bring the foot in really close. So try to stack these lower legs right on top of each other. So imagine there's this line that runs from the bottom of the foot to the outside of the knee, and then same thing on this side. And then we have these leg stacks. Sometimes this one's called fire log pose. And you can stay with your spine straight, or you can give a dive forward here. And then we're just gonna breathe. So whichever variation you're in, that's why this one is one of my favorites, because I find that everyone can find an option that works for them. It's also nice because, you know, as we move to the second side of the stretch, it might not feel exactly the same. So maybe you can go a little deeper the second time. Maybe you have to back out a little bit on the second side. So it is nice that this pose is going to meet you exactly where you're at. And we'll begin to release that one. Legs are going to extend in front. You can give them a little shake out. And then let's try that on the second side. We'll take our right leg up and over. We'll find that figure 4 stretch. So either hang out here, take a dive forward, left knee can bend. You can scooch yourself in, whatever feels comfortable, flexing that right foot, or lower legs are going to stack, and then we'll just be really mindful about our alignment here. Either spine is straight or diving down. And in any of these stretches, if you're feeling like your knee is very high up, that just means that the hips are tight. So doing stretches and practices like this will really open up the hips over time, but it does just take a little time for the body to open. So wherever you're at, we're just going to find a little softness here. So I know this one isn't easy for everyone. So maybe if it's intense, you are holding a bit of tension, maybe the jaw, maybe the shoulders, maybe the eyebrows. So just trying to let that tension go with each exhale. And also just becoming aware of the mind. The mind has this tendency to be very active, to have so many thoughts going through the mind all the time. So just trying to release those thoughts, try to come back to your breath, to the present moment. We're going to begin to make our way out of this one. Legs can come out in front. We can give them a bit of a shake on out. Let's come on into a tabletop position. And then as you take your table pose, let's take our gaze off our right shoulder. So we're just going to look back for our right toes, find a C curve in the spine. We'll bring ourselves back to center. Let's gaze off the left. C curve in the spine. Really see if you can press those right ribs to the right. We'll take ourselves back to center. Take a breath here. Lift to down dog on exhale. Toes curl under, hips to the sky. And shake it out a little bit here. Bend one knee and bend the other knee. Maybe shake the head yes and shake the head no. Toes to the hands. Let's bring it forward to a fold. And then we're going to shake out the fold as well. So bend one knee and the other. Head relaxes yes, and head relaxes no. As you find stillness here, let's relax the hands down. We're going to ground into the feet and we'll engage our core to bring us up to standing. So just flowing up one vertebrae at a time. Hands are relaxing down. Take our shoulders up, back, and down. So let's try for that standing tree pose. If you're feeling like the balance isn't super stable and there's a wall or a chair or desk close by, feel free to grab onto that for a little bit of support. So we're going to take our right foot up. Either toes can be on the ground for a little kickstand support. You can also hop the leg up. So we want to avoid putting our foot on our knee joint. So you can hop it a little higher or lower if needed. We just don't want to put too much pressure on the knee joint there. Hands can come up and overhead. Maybe bring hands into prayer. And we're going to hold this one. So if you're feeling like the balance is very challenging, sometimes stepping off of the exercise mat can be really helpful. Sometimes the mats are squishy, which gives us a little padding in the stretches, which is nice when we're doing things on the knees or on the back. But when we're trying to balance, it makes it much more challenging. So you can always step off the mat, use the firmer ground. That might help out a little bit. And maybe imagining just like a tree, right? Growing those roots from your left foot right down into the mat, feeling that groundedness, feeling that connection. Let's begin to release. Hands are going to float down, but it's going to come out nice and wide. We'll take a little empty coat sleeve stretch side to side to reset. And then as you're twisting to the left, just having those right toes lift or right heel lifting up so that your toes track in the same line as your knees. So we just don't want to be tweaking the knees at all on this one. This one's a great one to weave into the workday. Have a minute to just stand up and stretch. That one's a great one. So let's take our left leg up when you're ready. So you can have it a little higher or lower. You can also have your toes on the ground, creating that kickstand support. Now, tree is really great because as I shared, it gives us that really nice hip stretch and leg and low back stretch. So to get the maximum stretch, see if you can roll your left knee back a little bit. That's just going to help you open up the hips more, get a little bit more into the inner leg. And we want to feel that our hips are even because it's really easy when we do this to hike this left hip up. So just see if you can create that mind-body connection, have even hips and even low back. Always really important to have that alignment. And once we become aware of our body on the mat, it's so nice to bring that into, everyday life, just noticing how you sit or how you carry a bag. All of those little movements really add up through the day and through our life. So I always believe that, being mindful about our body is one of the best gifts that we can give ourselves. We're going to come on out. This time, let's give it a nice little shake on out. Inhale, bring the hands up. Hands into prayer, exhale, hands to the heart. Thank you so much for joining today. It's fabulous to be here with you all. I hope that you enjoyed this tree practice. I personally feel much more grounded now, which is great. I look forward to be back with you all soon. I'll be back tomorrow, Friday, 10 o'clock. That's East Coast time. We'll be doing our chair yoga practice. So 30 minutes of stretching at your desk with your chair. So no need to change or get the mat out or anything like that. So a really nice practice for the day. Hopefully I'll get to see you then. Take care.